People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you for watching and rocking with me each and every time. Now, Swiss Ramble, a good account that does a good job of the finances and them sort of things relating to Arsenal. You lot know me, I just like to offer football. I don't have a clue when it comes to the finances and I don't pretend to. But he's got a good way of paraphrasing his tweets and making it understandable, layman terms if you want. So we might as well go through them. As Arsenal fans nervously await the outcome of this summer's transfer window, I thought it might be interesting to look at why the club is facing more challenges these days. Some thoughts in the following thread. On the face of it, Arsenal are doing fine, having reported profits for 16 consecutive years, adding up to a grand total of 393 million, averaging 225 million a year. Furthermore, Arsenal's profits in the last two years were a healthy 70 million in 17-18 and 45 in 16-17. In fact, Arsenal's 70 million profit before tax in 17-18 was actually the fifth highest ever registered in the Premier League, although it is worth noting that this was comfortably surpassed by two rivals that season, Spurs with 139 million and Liverpool with 125 million. However, this profit was driven by 120 million from player sales, so Arsenal actually made a hefty 42 million of operating loss in 17-18, and 94 million decline from previous season's 52 million operating profit. This was due to the double whammy of a surge in wage bill and no Champions League football. In fact, there were no major player sales in 17-18. Obviously, he went on to just list without Akpom, Perez and Campbell. These are not really major sales, people. Obviously, let's use our brains. It's highly likely that Arsenal will report a large loss before tax for last season, the first time the club will have slipped into the red since 2002. So you can see on one hand we do have finances, but on the other hand it is quite a bleak picture. We're only the sixth. We're only the club in the big six to see a revenue fall in 2018. Their growth was 380. Why can't I read today? Was 38 million since 2016, which is miles lower than our. This is us, people, which is miles lower than our main rivals. Four of whom had growth above 100 million. Most painfully, this time Spurs have closed the gap from 141 million to just 10 million. So Spurs are really getting their act on commercially, and you're seeing with everybody else. In 2010, our revenue was 223 million, was second only to United, but they have slipped to fifth place in 2018. They are now at least 50 million behind the top four clubs, which is us. We're in a lot of trouble, people. United 201 million, City 114, Liverpool 66, Chelsea 59. And he's got good. I'm forgetting to mention there's good little infographics as well, people. So yeah, looking at the 2018 Money League, it is striking that Arsenal had the worst revenue performance of all the clubs in the top 20, falling by 30 million compared to the previous year. In stark contrast, there was strong year-on-year growth at Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs and City. So again, we're not doing the right things there. Obviously, we know about Glazides boasting. The failure to qualify for the Champions League has really hurt Arsenal's revenue despite reaching the Europa League final. In 2018-19, this was only 32 million, at least 50 million below the English clubs in the Champions League. In fact, finalists Spurs and Liverpool received 90 million and 98 million respectively. In the last 2 years, Arsenal has earned by far the least of the big six in Europe, just 74 million against Liverpool. Obviously, I'm not going to keep naming the finances, but Liverpool, City and Spurs have done better. A lot of that is because we're not in the champs. And scary, it said Arsenal is the only club to see their European revenue fall compared to the two preceding years. Success on the pitch is important, which is very true. It's all a trickling effect. If you get the job done on the pitch, then everything falls into place. People think about it logically. Everybody loved Real Madrid. Obviously, Ronaldo's not there, but typically Ronaldo, if not before that, Raul, Carlos, Zidane, Beckham, etc. They loved them. And people before my time, when they were really winning the Champions League. Obviously, they won it 4 years in my lifetime, but just before I could comprehend football. Why? Because these lot were stars. These were fundamentally were great footballers. And 9 times out of 10, if you've got great footballers, you're winning titles. People want you to sponsor their stuff because more people are going to watch it because they idolize you. It's how the world works. The more we keep slipping commercially, the more we're going to, on the pitch, the more we're going to keep sliding commercially, people. And the harder it's going to be to bring in star players and things like that. More important bits, I'm not going to list everything, but the most relevant bits is Commercial revenue has barely grown at all in the last 3 years, up by just 4 million since 2015. In the same period, the big six other clubs range from 38 to 79 million. Spurs have more or less closed the gap on us. Commercial revenue has been our issue, we know. Obviously, he's gone on to say, in fairness, we've increased match day revenue and we've obviously got new sponsorships to come in, but it's still being dwarfed, people. We still earn more than match day revenue, but it's slowly being eroded, people, because the difference is being made up by other clubs. So, in short, we are in a mess. On top of the double whammy of FFP, on top of the sporting aspirations, we need to get it correct, people, really and truly. We'll see what happens in that regards, but it really doesn't paint a good picture, really and truly, and it does mean we're going to have to be quite the creative team when it comes to finding players and getting around them and negotiating fees and things like that. Away from that though, people, and obviously it was the I keep saying England, it was the European Under-21s Championships, and there was a lot of players I would like, people, but I've tried to make feasible Arsenal targets, people, and the first one I would like is actually not someone to sign this season because I don't think we have the money. There's a need for him, an immediate need, but Benjamin Hendricks. Now, we've known about him for a while. I'm sure he's at Monaco. He's previously been at Leverkusen. Forgive me if I've mispronounced them and got them mixed up, but he can play left back and right back and do it quite well. Good technically, decent 1v1 defender. Could probably close down crosses a bit more, but he's decent. I think he could compete with Bellerin, and if anything happens at left back, he could be a competent option there if we don't sign a left back, or in fact even he could be competing there to a degree. I think he's a decent fullback who can grow and develop. He's someone I'm looking at. Mark Roca, we know he plays for Espanyol. He's made 75 appearances for them, 60 odd coming in La Liga. He made 40 appearances last season. I'm sure you all saw the Spanish national team. They all had decent players. Roca's a decent player. I feel he's a bit... I've got no other way to describe him other than introverted. I don't think he's got the biggest personality on the football field and the most bravado, but I feel he does his job. He doesn't do things above his pay grade in the middle of the park, defensive mid. He's got a decent pass on his left foot, but like I said, he's not trying to do it consistently. He's alright, and you need some players that can just do their job. He's contracted until 2022. He's at Espanyol. No disrespect to them, but you like to think they're easier for Arsenal to negotiate with. Some of the targets we've been linked. He's someone I'd have a look at. I'm not saying to sign him. He's the most target. I'm just saying have a look, really and truly. You don't know until you have a look, really and truly, people. I would like us to have a look at Olmo as well, Dani Olmo, even more so than we already have. To be fair with you people, because you lot can see he's a decent winger. You saw him, he drifts to the right and the left as shown at the Under-21s Championships. He scored in the final. He's got an eye for goal. He's quite quick as well. Physically, I'm not sure if he can succeed in the Prem. That's the only concern I have. But the one concern to the many positives have been outnumbered here. So surely he's someone contracted until 2021. Now, allegedly, Barcelona want to bring him back from Dynamo. He left there as a kid and went over to Croatia, people, in case you don't know. When Barca come, you can't say no. So we'll see how it goes. But in regards to that, I've got nothing more to add. And the final point, I was going to actually do it in a separate vid, people, is that I might do an extended vid on this, but I personally feel new signings will only fix half the job, people. Again, we know we need left back, right back, many other positions. Many players here simply are not good enough. Clearly, many players here simply are not good enough. Emery's been dealt a foul hand in that regards, but coaching is a big part, and I'm not laying that at the feet of Emery or getting at him or anything. I'm saying coaching. People, we can sit here and say new signing, new centre-half, this and that. We've been doing that year in, year out, and these new players have been coming in and we ain't seen an improvement. It's half the job. The new signings, or whoever they are, wherever they are, if they're not the mainstream targets, they have to be able to go into a system that is working, people. Do you get it? Why do you think Van Dijk and Alisson look sick? Obviously, they're quality players, two of the best respectively in the league. But would they have any success, really? Put it this way. We know they're good players, people. And again, Liverpool have a better team than us. But you slap Alisson and Van Dijk in our team, people, they're going to get found out. And when I mean found out, I don't mean they're not good, but they're going to get ripped. Why? Because Liverpool clearly, they're not the best defensively, but there's been an active improvement from Liverpool to improve defensively, and they dramatically have. Is that any coincidence as to why they're now second in the Premier League and stuff? And if you don't believe me, look at them from defence to strikers. They're not as gun-ho. The game management's improved. The defensive system, holding lines, filling in for the fullbacks when they go forward. All of that's improved. So there's a better emphasis on defending and a better system. And then you've got Van Dijk and Alisson to take it to the next level. Because again, this might not be the best example, people. people. But everyone can speak about Alisson and Van Dijk, myself included. Nobody's going to speak about Matip's decent form or Lovren's okay form. Do you get it, people? Or Milner doing a job at fullback. Do you get it? Nobody's going to speak about that. Everyone will speak about Ndombele coming into Spurs, but no one, well, they are speaking about it, but no one's going to speak about Sissoko's improvement. You get it? Again, not every player can improve, but in terms of tactically improving our system and stuff, and getting on the same page and learning the system and knowing it better, I believe we need to do that, because signing new players is only half the job, people. Honestly, it's only half the job. We've been signing new players and stuff, but the system needs to work, people. And coaching is a big part of this job. If we can coach defensively how to move in a back line and stuff, then we can go forward and do other stuff. But pre-season, we have to get it right, or make aspirations to get it right in that regards. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving, people. So there's nothing more to add. People, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking.